Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Loveonaroll podcast. I know it's been a little bit, but hard to find people. But we got a great guest on, Phillip Bramwel. I'm so excited to have him on. Phillip, tell us about yourself.
Thank you, Garrett. My name is Phillip Bramwell. Age 26, I have a spastic quadriplegic cerebral palsy. So I was born at 28 weeks. I'm a triplet. I had a brain bleed and it caused impairment in all four limbs. That's where quadriplegia comes from. I live in Tempe, Arizona, and currently I'm a stand-up comedian and working on various other projects.
Well, welcome to the show, my friend. And just so you know, I don't know if we talked about this before, but I do have the same exact disability as you. Spastic quadriplegia.
Uh, you copying me is totally unacceptable.
Yeah. What can I say, man? God gave us the same. Look at
What?
the draw.
I was born in March. What month were you born?
November.
November. So you did copy me.
Yeah. Well, just a few months after, but yeah, I guess so.
All right,
Wait, wait.
man. Well, I forgive you. Let's hash it out on this episode.
Okay, let's hash it out.
Yeah.
So, um, you are a stand-up comedian. So how did you get into that? You sure you're not a sit-down comedian?
Um, I use the term that the majority of the masses uses. So I settled for stand-up comedian. Uh, I started in October of 2024, and the reason is because I felt like I was gonna lose my job, and it turned out I did lose my job. I was laid off, and excuse me, it opened up opportunity to work on new adventures. So here I am.
Here you are. That's great. If you haven't checked it out, guys, I think you should definitely go to Philip's YouTube channel and check out his stand-up. His latest set was hysterical. Like I'm not trying to fan guy here, but it was really hysterical. I enjoyed it.
Thank you, Garrett. That's kind of the point. So I'm glad that you thought it was funny because otherwise I wouldn't be doing my job.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What's the equivalent of getting fired from that? I don't know. Like, yeah, I guess getting booed, which you don't want that. So
Yeah, or just not getting booked on a show. That's
yeah,
like our version of getting fired, if you will.
yeah. Nobody wanted you. So tell me about your dating history. And just about maybe by your early your early years until now.
Sure. So, in middle school and high school, of course, there were women that I liked. Well, they were girls at the time when we were peer to peer, but there were women that I liked, but that was straight rejection every time. Um,
Yeah.
college, college, I got a few first dates, but then it never got anywhere. Well, after that, and then once I got, a real job and moved to Arizona, I had a girlfriend for a year. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for various reasons. Um, and now I'm almost not single, but I can't really talk about that. I don't want to jinx. I don't want to jinx it.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. You got to be secretive in the beginning, so
Yeah.
as not to jinx it for sure. So so you faced a lot of rejection clearly. and you faced some triumphs. So what was the moment, if you had any moment, that made you realize that you are able to date anyone that you want? Like there's no limits, no boundaries, no
Uh,
obstacles.
yes, I agree. You know, there's no boundaries or, I can get whatever quality woman that I want, but I had to come to the realization that if I want a quality woman, that means that woman wants a quality man. So I was gonna have to work extra hard to keep, my self together as much as possible. That includes financially, health wise, and any way possible to create a stable life for myself and her and anyone else that comes in the picture.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Um, I tell you, man, you got a very um positive outlook. You know, even though we're all going through challenges, you always seem to have a very positive outlook, which is great. So in general, was there anything that happened that made you have that resilience, that fire about you, or it was just natural?
That's a good question. I grew up around people with disabilities, and it's the same as today. Most people were struggling financially and in every way possible, but I've been lucky to be around some successful disabled people, but they're still the minority. And so I kind of envisioned myself being the minority of successful disabled people. And I know that we all define success in different ways, but for what I define success as, I've been lucky to have a few different mentors and some tour mentors. Sometimes the people that helped me the most were the most rough on me or the most critique of me, but it helped me grow and helps me become a stronger, more resilient person.
That's awesome. And if I did my research right, are you a coach? Did you do some coaching in your own business opportunities?
Oh, well, I classify myself as a coach because I perform as a patient model and I do demos with medical schools. I also I also do written posts and I also do stand-up comedy. So I'm a speaker and I think coach is a good summary of what I do because I in whatever context I'm giving advice about disability, whether it be in a serious educational manner or more lighthearted through comedy.
That's awesome. So all of the things you do, also you don't have to get into like um the nitty gritty of it, but like all of the things that you just described, um, are you able to get paid for some of it, or is it just volunteer, or how does that work?
That's a great question. So I think that's a point of sore spot for the disabled community. It's difficult to get paid for doing disability related work. Um, that on in my perspective, it's worth money because I know for sure that medical students use our videos, like our YouTube videos and our Instagram reels, to learn, and so do their instructors. So they're using our material for their education as they should, but we're not compensated properly. And so that's a sore spot that I have. Partially, it's our own fault as a disabled community because there are a lot of people that they don't stand up for themselves, if you will. Um, and so collectively, we would be a lot further along financially if we all were collective in our expectation to get paid for disability related work. But when we got the majority of people that back down and only a small portion of us stand our ground, it hurts the whole community.
Yeah, I agree with you. Um, I think we talked about this before, you and I, but I think employment is so dismal for people with disabilities in the disabled community that the best path to do is really like you know pursue your own opportunities and figure out how to get control of your own income versus relying on somebody alone to you know pay your wages and stuff like that. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing to like obviously work for somebody, but let that person be like one of your spokes on your wheel, if you will, instead of just you know relying on that person solely because you know with me, I don't know if you've had this experience, but when that person decides they don't want to pay you, then you're back to square one. Whereas if you're doing multiple things for your career and you're taking charge of it in your own hands, you're better off because that person decides not to pay you anymore. You have another person or multiple other opportunities that you can rely on.
Yes, I agree. It's important for people with disabilities, really anybody, but particularly our community, not to put ourselves in a position where we're at the mercy of one person. We have to, have our own opportunities, open our own doors. But excuse me, part of that is that we have to hold our ground, and that means we might lose some jobs because we have expectation to get paid, and the particular entity doesn't want to pay. So a big part of that is we need to stand our ground so that the workforce um, normalizes paying people with disabilities.
I couldn't agree with you more, but that's an ongoing battle for us because it's easier to find a volunteer opportunity than it is to find a paid opportunity, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Which is why I know that we're capable of being regular workers, employment workers, because relatively it's not that hard to get volunteer work when you're disabled, but suddenly when it's the same job but you want money, it becomes not desirable anymore from the employer's perspective.
Well, yes, because volunteer there's limited liability, right? There's limited and plus it doesn't cost them anything. They get free and cheap and they get free labor basically.
Right,
And
but
what
I agree, but that's a one-sided benefit. We're still out here broke as a joke, on food stamps and social security, most of us trying trying to figure out how eating raviolis and tap water every night because we're broke. So if we want a better lifestyle, we need money. That's just the reality of it.
yeah, amen to that. Um,
And I
amen.
do like raviolis, but I'm just saying that we eat too much ravioli because we're too broke to buy a higher quality foods.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you, man. I agree with you, but I think if we take opportunities into our own hands and go about the work of educating people and advocating, then eventually doors will open.
I agree with that, but it's also we have to hold each other accountable in the disabled community. Like I get the most pissed off with other disabled people when I say like, "Oh, you don't want to get paid or you don't like stand up for yourself," and like they say, "No, I'm happy to have the opportunity." Like I hate that when disabled people do that. Like we need to be more united in our expectation to get paid.
No, I agree because you have some people with disabilities that are, I think they're getting paid still sub minimum wage. Some of them.
Yeah, that happens. I mean, I do have an opinion about that as well, but my biggest thing is like, let's say the college educated uh disabled workforce. Like, I have a bachelor's degree in journalism. I have the same degree as the able-bodied people. No modifications, got through it. So because I did the same degree as my able-bodied counterparts, in my opinion, that would make me equally valuable in the workforce. But as I've seen, it doesn't appear to be the case.
Yep, yep, definitely understand that.
And then and then I've heard people say, well, maybe if you get a master's degree, maybe if you get a master's degree, your employment options will increase. So
Yep.
I'm capable of getting a master's degree. I'm smart enough, but to be honest, everyone I know that's disabled with a master's degree, they're still phone receptionists, and they're still doing those basic jobs. Not that there's anything wrong with a phone receptionist job if that's what you can do, but you don't need a master's degree for that. So we're left in a position where we're spending money to get all these different certifications and degrees, naively thinking that it's going to help us. But in the end, we all end up in the same predicament we were in to begin with.
Right. No, I totally understand that. Um, it's unfortunate. It really is.
Yeah, but it's unfortunate, but we have to make it fortunate. We have to change our own attitude. One thing I've noticed is disabled people are so used to getting mistreated and even abused that sometimes we don't even know like that this is a form of mistreatment.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
like it's not even recognized as mistreatment. And like, to me, it's like we're catering to our abusers.
Yeah. Like like somebody says, hey, I can only pay you $100 every 2 weeks. We're like, okay, then we're talking to somebody else, like a job coach or whatever. They're like, you're not supposed to settle for that. You're like, really?
Right, exactly. Like, of course they're gonna lowball us, but it's not, that doesn't mean we accept that. We need to push back. And that's where I get pissed off with disabled people. Because yeah, it's wrong that we get lowballed or even asked to work for free. But a lot of that, the reason why that happens is because we're sitting there too passive, not countering the narrative.
Yeah. So, to your point, what advice would you give people that are watching who may be in that boat, who want to kind of take charge of their career and be more assertive in a less aggressive and mean way?
Well, for starters, it starts with our preparation for work. So, like, I'm big on education. You gotta, at the very minimum, you better have finished your high school diploma. I think if you're disabled and you don't even have a finished high school diploma or GED, it's going to be near impossible to get a job. And the reason why I say that is because there's people with bachelor's degree college and master's degree college, and it still feels nearly impossible to get a job. So you gotta help yourself first, and that would be by being as prepared as possible. Um, so that's one aspect of it. And then when it comes to, let's say you have education in something and you're ready to be in the workforce, you just gotta, first of all, you gotta be ready for the struggle that you're gonna face. But just know that whatever struggle you have at work is better than the struggle of being on Social Security, let's say. So have that mindset and then be as good as you can be in your particular trade or your particular knowledge and use that as your bargaining tool and don't allow people to mistreat you. The reason why I say we allow people to mistreat us is because in the example that you gave, let's say somebody says, okay, I'll pay you $100 every 2 weeks. Well, if we just accept that, they're technically not doing anything wrong. They just accepted what we accepted what they offered us. But it's up to us to uh, counter the narrative. Now, is that uncomfortable? Is it confrontational sometimes? Or even does it lead to losing opportunities? Yes. But that's the only way that we're going to dig ourselves out of the holes that we face.
Right. I like that, man. And let's talk about independent living. So, independent living is a real struggle and desire, as it is for everybody who is non-disabled, to live on their own and everything like that. And when I first got to know you on a more intimate level, we'll say, I found out that you live in a beautiful house that's completely barrier free and accessible. How did that happen? Because that's a rare find.
It's very difficult. So I'll answer your question, but whenever I answer, I don't want anyone to think that it was simple or easy because it was far from the case. But anyway, when I got this opportunity to move here, I had my job that I had for nearly 5 years. So from a financial perspective, that's how I was able to qualify for a mortgage. Um, and then I'm the first owner of this house. And of course, they were building it for someone that wasn't disabled. So I got here just in time and I had to ask them to rip out the, excuse me, rip out the bathtub. And they did that. But of course, that added a significant amount of money to the closing costs. Um, so now it's fully accessible, but it was very expensive and uh, there was no government assistance whatsoever to do what I did. So I was just very lucky.
Yeah, you are. Oh, what did you say?
I was lucky. I'm lucky to have family support.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, family support is a huge help. Um, what has been your experience with independent living before you were living on in that house of yours?
Well, I went to college at University of Arizona, so I was out of state. My family is from New Jersey, so I was out of state living in a dorm, and I had the same arrangement I have now, where the personal care attendants would come in the dorm to help me, and then they would leave. Um, and then after that, I moved back home to New Jersey because I was having trouble, excuse me, having trouble looking for a job. Um, and I was living in a with a roommate at the time, again with the same arrangement. The PCA would come in, help me, and then leave. Um, and then um, yeah, and then I moved here to Arizona, and it's the same arrangement. So my parents, they were always very supportive in allowing me to be as independent as I can be.
Nice. So, do you have anything that you want to add or any questions you may have for me?
Um, well, first I want to say we have 9 minutes, 20 seconds left. Uh, so yes, I do have questions. What what has been your experience with your family's attitude toward your independence or your level of independence?
My family has been okay with my level of independence. They actually supported me in when I living on my own in college. Um, I lived in an apartment style place on campus, and that was the best thing for me because prior to college, I never lived on my own before. I never went to sleepaway camp or anything like that, so I never lived on my own, and I was crying being away from home for a little bit, and then I got used to it.
Did it help you grow as a person, either intellectually or even physically with your level of independence?
Oh yeah, it did hugely. Um, because of the fact that it was apartment style, um, it allowed me to do probably what you couldn't do in a traditional dorm, which is learn to manage my aides that came in and was like, hey man, let's cook this on the stove, or let me bring my crock pot to practice making this meal and pressing these buttons and managing aides to do laundry, and then also if something would go wrong in the unit, making me responsible for finding the repairman. And I actually was friends with the maintenance man there. And hey, Mike, can you help with this and help with that? That's something you couldn't. I don't think you can do in a traditional dorm if it's not apartment style.
Oh, cool. So what was your degree in?
It was in interdisciplinary studies, um, with a focus in communication, um, and media, but it didn't. So it got me some cool opportunities in college, but I didn't really. I love this degree because it helped me, you know, do things like I'm doing right here with the podcast and everything like that. But of course, employment, I didn't realize it was going to be a huge battle like it is.
I understand. Uh, if it's any consolation, it's a battle for all of us out here. More people struggling than not struggling. So, not that it makes it any easier for you personally, but you're not the only one. Um,
Yeah, I appreciate that, man.
so, did you finish your degree?
I did. It took me 5 years, but I did it. And now, then after then during college, I founded Loveonaroll and worked on it in after college a little bit with my other projects that I was doing, other jobs too. And now founded it officially in April of last year and working on it while trying to get other business and income.
Oh, I totally understand. Did you get good grades in college? Was it not easy for you, but did you get through it comfortably, or was it very difficult for you?
There were some things that were difficult about it, but luckily I had a tutor who I had for many years, and I was able to graduate with a 3 point something GPA. That's pretty good.
Oh, that's very good. What may I ask? What subjects were difficult for you?
Math.
Oh, I totally understand, but I was lucky with my major, journalism. Math was not required, so that's one of the reasons why I picked it.
Oh, really? Well, yeah, that's good that Arizona State didn't require that because at my
They
university,
do, they
that's
do, they do require it, but for other majors, but not the major that I had.
yeah, yeah. This is a part of my general education requirements.
Okay. So what level of math did you have to pass?
It was like applied math, I think it was. Um, so it's not as bad as like algebra or something like that, but it was difficult. And I got it, and that was even with the course substitution that I got it from the student accessibility services office.
Oh, you got a course substitution. That's cool. But it was still
It,
difficult. Mm.
yeah, it's still difficult.
Oh, I understand. Well, good job for getting through that shit.
Yeah, and let's see. Just and also English. Believe it or not, English was a little bit difficult for me in college.
You had to go to English too, I would imagine.
Um, it was English. I, I failed English one the first try, so I had to actually take English one and English two at the community college level. But it transferred back to my university. Thank God.
Oh, that's good. But you were able to get through that shit too, so that's good.
Yeah, thank God.
Awesome, man. It shows you're resilient and you got it upstairs because
Yeah,
some people can't pass college. College is way harder than anything in K to 12. And
yeah.
there is modification sometimes with some things like course substitution, but for the most part it's you're on your own. So good job, man, for figuring that shit out.
Well, thank you, buddy. So I think we got to wrap it up now. So thank you guys for checking out our podcast. Remember that Loveonaroll is a business now. So if you need any services, you let me know, and I got you. And make sure to buy yourself a Loveonaroll t-shirt there. All right, guys. Until next time, remember, love will save the world, and peace out.